We are live with Alan Gobbs for another VC slash founder wisdom podcast because we have both with us today. Alan is the co-founder and managing partner at Atom Capital, studied at Harvard. He's a venture cap, yeah. He's a deep tech entrepreneur and educator, so founded a bunch of companies. Also has a course on Maven, I believe. He has 5 IPOs, 3 M&As. He was featured on various prominent publications, Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, New Yorker. I don't like the New Yorker though. He's also board director and a speaker. So we've got the full package with us today. We're going to talk SaaS, deep tech, health tech, life science, and of course, entrepreneurship. This podcast brought to you by podbuyer.com. If you want to start, scale, or be invited to a podcast or even grow your sponsorships, that's a complicated word. Al will tell you that podcasts are pretty cool. They allow you to meet great minds, exchange with them, get clarifications on your ideas, the power of conversations. And who knows, me and Alan might do business together. They're also a great vehicle for that. So podbuyer.com, if you want to start, scale, or be invited to a pod. Alan, it's an honor to have you on. I am eager to pick your brain and have cool convos with you today. Can you tell us a bit more about yourself and Atom?
Yeah, thanks, Charles. Thank you for having me. So on my side, I'm a venture investor investing primarily in late-stage life sciences projects. By late stage, I mean after proof of concept in humans. So we like things which are already proven to work. So it's kind of a conservative strategy, but some of the companies are still very like breakthrough, like bioengineering platforms, which we love. And we are based in New York. So I would say that any late stage companies, they're coming up to New York anyway. We have great visibility into like everything which is real, like basically at the edge of the science. So, and I feel very privileged to work in this field because we are part of the stories which actually help cure some diseases. And financial, obviously, it's also exciting because the world is aging. On the one side, on the other side, the technologies are really evolving very fast. Over the last 10 years, we have an explosion of new modalities and new ways to cure cancer, new ways to tackle some of the mental health diseases and whatever. So it's really fascinating. I think this is the toughest field to learn, to understand, because it combines, the lives of people, very high prices for the drugs, innovation, technologies, regulation, ethics, all of this matters all together. I don't think there's another field which is like really binding all of that. So yeah, I feel very lucky to be in the space.
Let's first talk about Burning Man. It's fresh in your memory. Not sure if it's your first one. Me, it would be my first one. I definitely want to go for the creative aspects and just thinking outside of the box. And the community aspect as well. Why did you go? And what insights have you got from your brief time there?
Well, I would say that the Burning Man, obviously, I always wanted to come over there. Obviously, probably I had like already tens of friends coming up like for many years to the Burning Man, and I strongly believe that you need to have a question, to ask. You have to have some idea why you're going there, because it's really, really tough. The desert, the conditions, the environmental conditions are really harsh. So I actually arrived into a dust storm. Now they have rainy, like it was raining for a couple of days already. It will be raining probably over the weekend, which is like obviously a lot of mud, and people are required to stay at the camps. Right now, it might be even an emergency situation coming if the rain continues. So I would say you really need to have some goal to come over there, to experience all of that. And a lot of friends of mine, they had like divorces, they had some like somebody died in their families, whatever. So they had some questions. They kind of were broken. They came over there. They burned the man. They kind of burned whatever they were like before. They tried to start something from scratch. So I think that I kind of had similar ideas. I thought that maybe I want to explore what is the bottom of my existence, what is the bare bottom, I would say, of my existence, what it is. And I thought that this would be the best place to do that. So I came over there, and I decided, I never in my life, in my youth, in my childhood, never used a tent. I was never going for fishing, for anything like that. So I said, okay. And my expectation was that this would be a place where everybody would sleep in tents. There'll be like hippie guys, like smoking weed, stuff like that, discussing whatever the universe situation. But it turned out that this is probably more a place for privilege. So it's really expensive to go over there. All of my friends always are coming with their own RVs, recreational vehicles. So they kind of like sleeping normally. And I came there with a tent, and I was so committed. I was sleeping like basically among the like really cool RVs in my tent, and in these RVs I had my friends, investors, and I was committed to my vision of the Burning Man. So I came over there, I put in my tent, the first time in my life. I actually made a tent, and I was like sleeping in a sleeping bag. I was not eating, just drinking water. I was just basically going on foot only. I actually bought a bike, but then I sold it straight away. When I arrived, I decided to really to go on foot only. I went for 45 kilometers the first day. So I went through the whole camp, but actually not through the whole, it turned out to be really larger than I expected. In my mountain, like trail boots. So I went over there. My actual goal was not only to go like to the bare bottom of myself, but also to really to lose some weight in the meantime as well. So I did that. Actually, I lost probably a couple of kilograms over there over a few days. And I tried to experience some new things which I never done before. Actually, this was not the drugs you would expect. I think that the drugs are really not helpful. So if you want to change your personality, you shouldn't choose drugs. You shouldn't do pharmacological way to change your personality, in my view at least. I'm the guy doing the drugs, always investing to drugs. So I feel very uncomfortable that this change would be uncontrollable. So I didn't do anything like that before, and I don't plan to do this in the future anyway. So I actually basically experienced the playa in the worst dust storm in the years. So I slept in the playa, almost slept in the playa. I listened to like psychedelic music, psychedelic rock. And then I went to yoga the first time in my life. Probably like all the guys who are listening to us already experienced that. This was my first time, and I'm already over 40-year-old guy who just first time tried yoga. I loved it. I will keep it up for sure. And finally, I left quite early. I think I left, probably I spent like a couple of days there, maybe more. And then I went to my friends who are living like near the Lake Tahoe. I took the kayak, and I go diving there. So it was a much nicer experience than the Burning Man, to be honest. However, what I really liked was the vibe. The vibe is really, really amazing. It's like you're talking to a stranger, like a very old friend of yours, like to any stranger. A lot of people are basically semi-naked, whatever. So they kind of like saying, well, we are very open-minded, very free to talk about anything. That was amazing. And the music was great. I mean, I don't dance a lot, but this was something like really the deep catalog remixes from the 60s, 70s, 80s, some new music as well. And the beats were great. It was super experimental, nothing compared to what you normally hear, here, even in New York. So I really love that. And I hope everybody will stay safe, because the rain is now really awful. It will be raining. Everybody is requested to stay in the camps, and the entry and the exit is closed for now. So yeah, hopefully nothing will happen. And, this whole 70,000 people will get out of there easily and safe.
Wow. You opened many, many doors here. Glad that you told me about that, because for all of these reasons, that's why I want to do it myself. Okay. So let's first start with, the fasting. So yeah, if folks want to have breakthroughs, fasting can be it, because it's a lot of pain, and you naturally derive you modify your biochemistry by doing so. So you will think differently. You will have different set of thoughts, and it is sort of like doing a real trip with medicine. Let's call it that way. And you really turned me on with the 45 kilometers of bike. I'd
walk on foot.
Oh shit! Okay, that's even more intense.
Bike is fine.
Yeah,
but really walking 45 kilometers.
I'd start with the bike, and then I'd probably run it, or something like that in one day. I'm pretty sure there's crazy people like that too that run in these conditions. So that also caught my attention. Then the fact of the tent, I've A/B tested that also in the last few years. I've done camping before, but so I went to the highest mountain here in Oaxaca. I can see it from my house here, and we camped on top, and it was really cold at night. And it was spooky, we were hearing noise, and there's panthers up there. There's jaguars. So I was like, shit, I almost didn't sleep. Also, it was really cold. It was a fun experience. And camping, well, I don't like it personally. Maybe my body could get used to it after like 7 days or something like that. But obviously I'm used to sleeping on a bed. Then the music, yes, amazing. Some of my favorite DJs mixed in there. Really cool experience. Open-minded people that are semi-naked. I think that's like too obvious, that's cliche. Do you need to be naked to show that you're open-minded? Me, I'm open-minded. This podcast is open-minded. If you want, I can take off my shirt.
Yeah, I would add to that I was a bit disappointed that the outfit was actually very aligned. I would expect, much more diversity, because here you really want to show out basically. And I thought that there will be whatever, like different styles, whatever in the outfit. There was quite nice art cars, going around, whatever. But the outfit was, like very much aligned. So. Yeah. So I don't know.
You feel it was a bit like sexualized, because if you get like LA people, it's like a fashion contest and a look at my titties contest. So it's like, do you feel that was part of it, or?
No, I would say that it was kind of mild. It was not sexualized, by the way. I would say yes, they were half naked, whatever. But a lot of things like this artificial fur, whatever. So kind of it's still the same colors, the same styles, basically. So. I thought that there will be a lot of minor things, whatever hats, like super strange glasses. I don't know, anything like goggles, something really impressive and really kind of fun. But it was very aligned, and So actually, I took something like strange outfit for the occasion, but I realized that yes, that. Somehow it's not the thing which is really, I don't know, diverse there. Anyway.
Yeah, me, I'd go like quite wild, I'd like fully let myself go. I'm not saying I would be in a G-string or something, but it would be the full expression of myself. I've been working on that this year. I had various folks coming on the pod talking about creativity and expression and sort of fluidity, and because my ego would be like, oh, dress up as a Spartan and show your muscles, but I think I need to go deeper than that and explore another facet of myself. Two other comments with the tent. First, if you're fasting, you must not have slept because fasting fucks with your sleep all the time. Did you get problems with that?
Actually not. No, I was too tired, because I actually walked, and then I would dance the whole night, and then I go sleeping for some time. By the way, I heard that there would be super cold, and it was not. It was absolutely fine in the night.
Wow.
So it was very comfortable to sleep.
What about the noise? Because me, I can't sleep if there's too much noise.
Right. So I had my earbuds, which they cancel active canceling of the sound, so it went fine. But I would say yes, it was super noisy in the night. Absolutely.
Right. So, okay. Then I want to hit on one topic you mentioned. So me, obviously, I think I'd do psychedelics if I would go there. Because one, I'm experienced, because two, it's like the place to do it. The community is like accepting, and it's like this utopia, right? Where you can be in an altered state of mind and have everyone understanding, or like 95% of people understanding what you're going through. There's even folks to accompany you to your journey. Obviously, there's a lot of people. I think it's ideal to do it there because everyone's so weird and the acceptance factor is quite interesting. Every time you do one of these trips, one of my least favorite parts when I'm on shrooms is to encounter strangers, normal humans, right? Because I think we live in this society in which most people are boxed, and as soon as and I'm boxed too. Like if I'm in my business state of mind, like I am somewhat right now, and I see someone that's high, I might not like fully accept him. While in Burning Man, I think you can reach out. I also view these as technology, like if you've done meditation and these kinds of things, you can achieve similar states, or just breath work, for example. You can get like really altered through breath work, but these substances, they really get you up there way, way, way quicker. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would say that that to me, it didn't seem to be the right place to do that, at least if you're doing this for the first time. Maybe if you know that it works fine with you, and you have like kind of control it, you understand it, what will happen, that's fine. But if you are doing this for the first time, I think that you would not get the help you may need all of a sudden. You may not be, you may feel something which you are not expecting. You may be anxious about that, and I think that most of these people they're doing this like for some time, and well, I don't know. It was pretty uncomfortable. If you talk about the playa, the outside environment, it is pretty uncomfortable, I would say. If you talk about doing this within your own RV, it's like, well, you'd better do this like at home, like in a more comfortable surroundings, whatever. Not RV is like not really romantic for that, I would say.
Right.
And then if you try and do this like in a like community, actually, I don't think it's actually that much legal. It might be dangerous, and I wouldn't do this with total strangers as well. So I know, looking at that, like at least for the first time, maybe if you're comfortable with that, how it works, it should be fine for you, because it's kind of a dreamy surroundings, like all of that, arts around, like whatever, and strangers. Maybe it's fine. But for the first time, I felt very uncomfortable, and I couldn't find the right place where I would say, well, this is the right place. We can experience that, and this would be safe, comfortable. It would be dreamy, and this would not be a bad trip. So it would be a very kind of a pleasant first experience. So I didn't get it where I can do that. So
yeah, I fully understand you on that.
But generally speaking, again, I would say that it's still pharmacology, and I saw people. I have some friends whose personality actually changed through like psychedelics, and they are pretty happy with that. But they are new people, which I cannot even now say they're kind of friends of mine, because they kind of new people. So I have to make friends with them again, I would say, and understand them again, because there are new personalities to me, and I feel quite uncomfortable that this was kind of a situation where it was not under your control. I'd rather say, well, I have this issue, I have this problem, I want to change myself, I want to be another person, and I would work into this person which I kind of set as a goal, and not just all of a sudden I become somebody who is like thinking very like differently, and I didn't control that. I don't know who I am now, whatever. I may become anxious about that, actually.
Yeah. Okay, well, the friends changing personality, I think they're just like branching out in one part of them, like we always have different personalities. Like me, I have a personality when on this pod. I have a personality with when I'm with my wife, I have a personality when I'm running ultras that never end. There's always some facet of you there. Now, if it's your first time, fully understand there's like all these what if, and that's very normal in us business people. We're always doing that. The thing is, these substances, naturally, they will relax you. My recommendation would be to not go for the full dose, but just like even microdosing it, you could get a very nice experience. I've microdosed shrooms at work, so you just make small caps and you take them, and all of a sudden you're more open-minded. All of a sudden you're more creative, and you don't have the negative effects of the quote unquote negative effects of hallucinations or like over questioning things and too much. So yeah, and shrooms also, like I would recommend to mix with CBD. You know, CBD is a central nervous system calmer. It doesn't have any THC, so you won't get the being high effect. And the munchies are nice though on THC, like eating a bunch of food. So yeah, this plus that and breath work. Okay, so psilocybin, CBD, and breath work. I found personally that it took me to really pleasant and high levels. So I have my wedding coming not so long, and basically that's the ceremony I'm gonna go through. So maybe not like the full heroic dosage in which you're completely disconnected, but yeah, something more lighter to start with. That would be the best package. But yeah, I do understand the uncomfort of not being in the best environment, and because the alternative to that, I mean, there's no such thing as like comfort environment also, except if you're like in your hut alone with maybe someone to watch, your facilitator that you trust, in your blanket. That can also be cool, by the way. But if you go in an environment, like if you go hiking and so forth, you might like encounter something that does make you uncomfortable. The beauty with these things is that most of the time they make you flow, and they make you they kind of evaporate your anxiety. So yeah,
the thing is that there was like a teacher kind of breathing there, and I went to this event as well, and it was just too hot. You know, we were, I think, 40 people in the space. It was outside, so well, it's just too hot, you know, and we did breathe, and it should be a very pleasant experience breathing together, all of us, but you know, it's like, not, again, it's too hot, dusty, and you don't if there's a lot of dust, it's not the best experience, you know, to learn breathing correctly. It was specifically for psychedelics, so breathing like kind of courses, whatever, for psychedelics. So yeah, so again, the environment was a bit difficult for the first timer, for sure. Maybe, you know, if you've done this for many times already, it's all fine. It's you anyway enjoy that.
Then your friends, okay, your analogy of like the Burning Man burning into the night, that was beautiful. You know, starting from scratch. How did your friends live that? You think they had the breakthrough that they deserved? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think that they claimed they did get the answers, and the funny thing was the guy who actually went there because of the divorce, which was really painful for him. He said he met every other guy was divorced, so, and you know, some of them were divorced like a couple of years ago, somebody like 10 years ago, somebody was just recent. So they told him exactly all the like practical answers on psychology side, on whatever, like the way you actually split whatever the legacy, whatever. So on each aspect, he would get the answer. And that's why he went for, I think, for the 4th time this year, because he says, you know, I have a question, I come there and I get the answer straight away from the strangers who really care about me, who listen to my story, and who are helpful. And then, of course, he shares his thoughts to their questions as well. So I know whether everybody does that, but my friend did that, and it actually worked. You know, the way they say, well, how they say, playa provides.
Love it.
Provides.
Yeah, I love that technique. I'd love to do some of that myself, you know, like, and either record these interview live there, or just like have these interviews with these folks. There's so much wisdom in people, you know, like just talking to you today. I wrote right before that, to me, podcasting is a cure. It's an energy adder. It doesn't take my energy, you know, because sometimes it's your personal life that is taking a bit more out of your business life. Sometimes your business life that's taking a bit more. But now, for example, I feel with my wedding coming that these podcasts, they help me as a therapy, you know, to speak to people, because for people listening, planning a wedding is not like you think, you know, it's quite stressful. There's so many costs, there's so many moving pieces, there's people putting stress on you all the time. And
Right.
you see that
It,
my
it
voice
has to
there.
be a pleasant experience in the end, right?
Yeah, it will be. It is all. That's the thing,
Yes.
it is. And I guess I'm used to that as a leader, like people put their stresses on me all the time and I can carry. But yeah, these podcasts, they give me energy. I want to talk about you though, Alan. We have like 17 minutes left. You started in banking, then you went into like a music startup. So like give us a quick overview of the highlights of your career. What was amazing? What was fun? What was spectacular? And what insights you learned out of that?
Yeah, I was kind of a too successful investment banker. So I was always involved in major deals. I made over 30 billion of deals actually and I spent probably like less than 10 years in this career. And I was very exhausted. Each year I would say, well, I need to quit. And then I got a bonus and say, well, probably another year may make sense. Because you earn at that point in time, you would earn something which was like transformational for your life, especially just after like basically graduating. So and then I there was some major deals like again 30 billion, and the overall discussions within my community like around me, we were all discussing bonuses, M&A deals, whoever switched hands, like whatever assets switch hands, whatever. So at some point, I realized that I'm kind of losing my time basically, because I always loved music, and culture in general. So I'm collecting like visual arts as well. So like from I actually use my bonuses to acquire a lot of paintings, whatever. Um, so I started my own startup in classical music because I really wanted to talk with the composers, conductors, musicians as well, obviously, whoever. So this was my hobby business, basically to expand my mindset, and to expand the people who I talk with. And I succeeded in that as well, specifically succeeded in having more discussions, which I really loved to have. But it was not successful as a business at all. So, and especially because I had too much money, I actually raised $1 million from sponsors, over $1 million, and I spent the 1.5 million, probably more than that, over just 1 year. If I had 1.5 million, I know how much value I could create with that. But at that point in time, I was kind of like throwing money into everything. I love that. I got much more experience from classical music webcast startup than I had for 10 years working as an investment banker. Because when you do your own startup, it's a completely different experience you get. When you kind of making like financial models in Excel spreadsheets in whatever, it's not a real life experience. When you do actual business, when you work with people who have huge egos, always as like conductors, composers, whatever. So the film director who are doing this filming for webcasts, that is much closer to actual real life. So that's why I went there, spent a year, and then I was invited to become a managing director in a venture firm, $500 million venture firm, back in 2012. And in the investment maker, just to name the companies, there was Barclays Capital, the final destination where I worked at, in UK primarily, but covering Eastern Europe and wherever. So, and then when I did my startup, it was called Paraclassics. I hope to revive it at some point. It will be called now Paramuse. Anyway, and then I moved, and I was invited to become a managing partner at a $500 million venture firm investing exclusively in life sciences, and specifically as a strategic partnership with Domain Associates. And Domain Associates is one of the oldest venture firms in the world. They kind of the ones who were kind of one of the founders of the whole venture industry for life sciences in the US. And this was amazing experience. I worked directly with the partners. Unfortunately, this week, one of the founders of Domain Associates died, Brian Dovey. And I would like to use this opportunity to invite everybody who is interested in life sciences and read his book, which he just released. And this will be an electronic release, I think, in November this year. And he was supposed to obviously promote it, but now, unfortunately, he died peacefully on the 27th of August. And I learned a lot from him. Especially on the ethics side. Well, of course, there was some like technical stuff, but the major thing was the attitude towards the entrepreneurs, towards the community, towards the drugs which we are like financing. So I am really grateful to him. He changed my life completely. And I'm teaching now what I learned from him in my courses, especially on the ethics side again. How you should treat the founders, how you should treat your fellow investors, your venture capitalists, whatever. So for over 10 years, probably for 12 years. So actually I spent there 2 years at this $500 million venture firm, but then 2014, I actually quit it and I started my own venture firm, Aethon Capital, which, we raised $500 million back in 2015. And we started deploying the funds. That was quite successful. I had 5 IPOs, as you said. One of these IPOs was Atea Pharmaceuticals, which we invested at 10 million pre-money valuation back in 2014. It went public in 2020 for I think the valuation was 2 billion. So from 10 million to 2 billion during 6 years. It went up to 5.5 billions. I think it was the peak. And then now it obviously trades quite low, but we managed to exit at 40 times the valuation which we invested into. So it was really successful for us. It was one of the few investments we did at early stage. But Jean-Pierre Sanmatos is the founder of the company, is a close friend of mine. At that point, we really changed a lot of ideas, and this was really something where I felt very honored to participate in. So, and another thing, we sold another company to Allergan. The funny thing was we sold it for 1.7 billion. A company called Tabira Therapeutics. And this was trading it was already a public company. So it was trading at 90 million and was sold for 1.7 billion. So almost 20 times its current market capitalization. And it's so funny, that you feel that, that the markets are kind of efficient. There are too many investors. The price would reflect the valuation, whatever. The fundamental valuation, but you can actually sell the company for 20 times its current market capitalization because the corporates, they understand the strategic value in the asset. They don't care about whatever is kind of trading, retail investors thinking of the company, whatever. They buy this because they see the strategic value in it. And that's another really thing where you see how the valuations could be different and how the perspectives of the founders, the investors, community, the retail investors in the public markets, how it's all very different price points for your company. So I really I would say to the founders that if you have down round currently in the current environment, that is completely fine because then there will be a rebound in the markets and it doesn't matter. You just have to survive the current situation, and then and hopefully next year will be much more helpful to the founders. So keep it running.
So you banked big time, basically. Is it fair to say that throughout your career, you personally made over 50 million?
Well, yeah, I would say that the value, primarily, of course, I'm focused on the value which you created for our investors.
Yeah, I want to start with the you part, we can go to this part, but you've made it big time. It
was pretty successful, yes. And especially obviously in the exits, whenever it's the exit, there's a amount of money coming, which is transformational, helpful, and which you can start your own firms and you can build your own startups on that. Yes.
Did you had money when you started in life? How does making your own money and banking big time change your mindset?
Yeah, so I was actually I was born in a very poor family, to be honest, and so we started my family. I think they didn't have much, and they were really pushing me to the limits, and I got to some of the prestigious universities, obviously, and then based out of that, I managed to get into the investment banking, which was the highest paid jobs at that point in time. And then once I get my first bonus, I couldn't believe my eyes. I just looked at the at the I think
That's a $1 million
yeah,
bonus, sort of.
yeah, it was like almost like that, but it was actually lower than that. But anyway, that was transformational. I think I ran like for a few kilometers, which I never did before. I was just looking at that balance and okay. So I went out to like, and then I just ran. That was my reaction to it. I ran
With the check in your hands, that's dangerous. But I fully understand, dude, because I had similar reactions. When I'm winning big time, there's too much energy, and running helps me compute the whole thing.
Yes. And but I worked really, really hard. There was one time when I didn't sleep for 4 nights in a row. I was already vice president, so I had like associates, analysts working for me.
At Barclays, yeah.
At Barclays Capital, yes. I think it was Barclays. Yeah. Actually, no, it was a Dresden Kleinwort. Dresden Kleinwort was the bank which was acquired by Commerzbank. So I actually worked for 4 nights because we as always, you get a contract and the managing director would say, well, we can do this within a week. And normally it requires 2 weeks, probably months to finalize that. But he would say, yeah, of course, if you need this within a week, you will have it. And it's true. That's a client business. You cannot say to the client, we cannot do that. You just say, well, you need to do this within a week, you will have it. So I was leading this effort, and I had analysts and associates changing, like rotating, but I had to do like all the job. I was like basically monitoring, doing this job. And this was a company, I had to make a financial model for EADS. It's a European, concern which has Airbus in it, like space, everything. Like it's a EADS essentially, right? It's a huge conglomerate, like with aviation space. So it was like within a week, I had to make a financial model of that and to make a fairness opinion, whatever. So it was an amazing job, and I didn't sleep for 4 days in a row. Unfortunately, somehow, when I had to deliver that, there was not a driver which could bring me there. So I had to drive by myself. And I drove there and I gave this, whatever the material, I don't know why we didn't do this electronically. I think we had to do this like in the paper form as well, in addition to electronically. And on the way back, I had an accident in my car. I slept like at the wheel.
Shit.
Yeah, I fell asleep. That's it. So I fell asleep at the wheel. Because there was basically a traffic jam, only because of that. If I would be driving, I hope, well, maybe it would be worse, but in a traffic jam, when you just drive another meter or whatever, so I just fell asleep there, and I get an accident, and in an hour or so, I called my boss and said, well, I have an accident here. He said, I don't care. You have to come back to the office because we have another deal to work. And I really left the car there, and I went to the office. I worked till the end of the day, whatever, because this is the way investment banking works. And it was super helpful for me to realize how far I can go, like physically. What is my limitations? People think that they are like limited, like if they don't sleep 1 night, they feel uncomfortable. But I didn't sleep for 4 nights, and I delivered the stuff to the place, to the clients. And then, yes, unfortunately, I had an accident, but then, nobody cared about that. So I had to come back. And then he said, you can do this like the other morning because we have to deliver this stuff today to another client. So you have to come to the office and do that. I don't care, accident, whatever. If you're still alive, you have to come over. So, and that was like an army to me. Essentially, it is like an army. So I love that. I think I learned a lot, and I'm kind of disciplined now, much more disciplined than some other folks who didn't go through that.
Right. And what's next for you? Like, you have a lot going on. You're investing into pharma, into biotech, and so forth. What are your goals for the rest of this year?
Yeah. So right now I'm building another startup, which will be a digital health startup. And it's done in partnership with Dell. Dell is a huge corporate, and they are looking into healthcare. They are looking to use AI in healthcare. So there are a lot of things we can do together. This is something where I see huge potential. And we are essentially making an integrator, an ecosystem of all the like point solutions which we're seeing. So whoever is watching us and have a point solution to be integrated into home care agencies or major health systems, please come over to me because we are essentially building this integrator, a sales channel into major health systems. So my goal is to transform generally the healthcare system in the US. It is not digitalized; it's super dated, and it's a 4 trillion basically economy, like one of the largest economies in the world. The economies in the world, this 4.3 trillion market of healthcare, totally not transformed. No AI used. When we talk about AI, it's like nothing is used. We're just scratching the surface. So I want to build an integrator which will put all of these small, point solutions, which I know all of them. We will put this on this integrator and we'll transform this whole industry in the US. This will be much more efficient, will be helpful to the patients. And that's what I'm doing right now.
Love it, dude. You're on your deathbed. What do you want to have accomplished throughout your life?
Well, to be honest, once I finalize things, I would love to write some music, or conduct something. And I know the things which I would conduct, but most of all, I would love to become a composer and to write something valuable. And this will be my message to the world. This is really, something which I want to say. Well, when somebody asks me what I did, I would say, well, I wrote this piece. That would be the best answer I would give.
Where can people find out more about you, Al?
Well, probably on ATOM Capital, you can see my deals, whatever. LinkedIn would be the best place to connect with me. I'm using LinkedIn very heavily. I love it. So please feel free to write to me, connect me on the LinkedIn. We can give the link, probably somewhere below, whatever. So yeah. And I would love to speak to many people. I love to talk with people, especially with the geeks who spend ideally decades on doing something. And then you spend a couple of hours with them and you learn so much. And I would love to share what I learned as well. So I'm actually giving lectures. You can see my course on Maven. This is also LinkedIn, so you can find it easily. So just, I'd love to share with you, and please share with me as well.
And I am Charles, host of Founder Wisdom.